Allow me to introduce to you the penguin chicken. This is one of the domestic Elvis chickens. Now I call this chicken the basic chicken because it's wearing Uggs. I'm pretty sure that this is Ron Weasley if Ron Weasley was a chicken. These two are clearly Fred and George Weasley. I figured you guys were due an update on our little chicks, and so here it is. This little piggy went to the market. This little piggy went home. This little piggy went over somewhere else. Yeah, I'm really enjoying having these chicks. They are very sweet birds. I've been trying to spend some time with them every day and just hang out and get to know them and their personalities and hold them and get them used to me. They are gonna be our laying flock. Now just a quick recap, we got a box of 11 chicks in the mail about 3.5 weeks ago. They have been doing really well. I've been housing them in this brooder room. It's an old milk cooler room in our ancient barn. I've housed ducklings and goslings here in the past. It's like a 36 square foot brooder, and so that's plenty of space for 11 birds, and I've been keeping them in here as long as possible. They're doing really well, they're growing up. They're really starting to get their feathers now. I might need to even start trimming their flight feathers because they're flying around the brooder room so much. Allison and I made the decision to expand out our laying flock because we really liked what the chickens were doing to the land and having them in the mix with the ducks and the geese. I mean, when you think about it, right? Ducks and geese have flat feet and flat bills and potentially do a lot of compaction to the ground. And by introducing chickens into the mix, their scratching and pecking sort of counteracts the flatness of the ducks and geese. I know that sounds crazy, but bear with me because I think it has some merit. And because Allison is a lover of fancy things, we decided to get a bunch of fancy chickens. I mean, when it comes down to it, if you're working through a hatchery, it only costs $1 or $2 more for some of these goofy fancy breeds. And so why not spend that extra money on some nice birds? When it came down to it for us, we wanted a wide and diverse variety of chickens in the mix, and so we got a little bit of everything. I know you guys have been wondering what breed of bird we have, so here is the official rundown for those who are curious. We have 1 black cochin, 1 Rhode Island red, 2 New Hampshire reds, 1 partridge rock, 2 barred rocks, 1 Colombian Wyandotte, 1 Ancona. I think she's gonna be a really pretty bird. And then 1 Crevecoeur, it's a French thing. She'll end up growing a nice fluffy head of hair. Kind of almost look more like one of our Silkies than a regular chicken. Now this one is the mystery chick. This one, I don't even know what this is. You know, the hatchery that we got these from, they sent us a mystery chick with the order and I'm not sure what it is. I actually think that he might be a rooster because, you know, it's really starting to develop that comb pretty quickly and early, much bigger than everybody else. I'm not sure what bird he is, but I think he might be an Americana, if I had to guess, possibly. I could be totally wrong about that too. Margie the murder chicken's also an Americana. And he kind of looks like her brothers and sisters, but I could be wrong about that one. Ultimately, I'm gonna house all of these birds in my Justin Rhodes mini chickshaw. It's designed to hold up to 16 birds, and so my total count will end up being 14 by the end of this season, and that's pretty much perfect. Release the Kraken! Our duck flock is doing pretty good. I have noticed though lately that I've got a couple of ducks that seem to go broody. In particular, that Cayuga duck that you can see right there on the ramp, she went missing yesterday. I came out here around 8 o'clock to put the birds away, and everybody was up in the house and everybody had already put themselves to bed. But when I did my head count, Cayuga duck was missing. I looked all around, I searched the entire pasture, but because the grasses are starting to get kind of high right now, I couldn't find her. I was kind of distressed and I really thought that we'd lost her. But then I came back out around, I don't know, 10-ish or so to give the goslings some final waters for the night. And there she was, right by the house, quacking away and all indignant. I think she's probably got a clutch of eggs out there. You can tell by the baldness on the back of her head that she's seen her fair share of mating. She is pretty popular with all of our drakes. I do have a batch of ducklings in the incubator right now, and fingers crossed we should have some ducklings very soon. Good morning, chickens. So yeah, so that's Margie, and so I think she might be the same breed as our mystery chick, only our mystery chick might be a rooster. Hey, you old geezers. Buddy. Yeah. Oh man. You just keep losing fur left and right, man. Woo. Toby, I swear, I should like knit a sweater out of you. It's the only way you're gonna survive this hot, hot summer, I know. I know. All right, let's see how our Silkies are doing. Morning, girls. Hey, Penelope. Hey, Bernadette. So our Silkies are still living in this A-frame tractor because Allison actually wants to take a little time and really decorate and paint the chicken palace that we're building for them. And so she's gotten through the red paint, she's still got to do the trim, and then I got to throw a roof on it. But then once that happens, I'll build the run and then we'll move these guys in here. We're in no rush to get them in here. So this is one of those do it as we can projects, not like a gotta get it done one. I do have a gotta get it done project that I'm gonna talk to you about in a moment. Our younger goslings are doing well. I keep just moving them in various places around the farm, just so they can have their own fresh grazing paddock. They're still spending their nights in the brooder house. It's getting a little space constrained, but it's okay. I really only have them locked up there during the dark hours. Pretty much any other time I have them out like this. The shelter that you see right there, they're not living in. I just have it there so that they can have access to shade, particularly on these hot days. For the most part, they like to be out having fun, doing their gosling thing. At this stage, when they have the feathers the way they do, and given that the temps are like in the 60s at night and you know it's pretty darn warm, they're pretty much ready to be outside full time. I'm just working on the final details of what they're gonna live in outside, because that's where they're gonna move. And no, I don't mean my truck, I mean that weird triangle looking thing. So yeah, this giant A-frame chicken tractor is gonna be the next destination for those goslings. I'll probably use one John Siskovich tractor and one of these, and that should be enough to house 38 goslings. Or at this point I should be saying geese, or maybe geeslings, but whatever. You know, it's gonna hold 38 birds. I'm not really following any plans to build this thing. It's something I've just kind of hacked together myself. I've seen other people build A-frame chicken tractors before, and so I'm basing it a little bit off of that, but I really wanted something big. So this is like 12 by 12, so that's a pretty darn good size. It gives you 144 square feet, which by my estimation for geese, if I'm raising them out on pasture and they have access to the outdoors during the day, that should be more than enough space to house probably about 25-ish geese or so. It's definitely large enough to house one barn cat. Hey Pablo, how's it going, buddy? Pablo. Over here, I'm gonna cover it in hardware cloth. And then over here, I'm gonna use like that metal sheeting, the roofing sheeting that you see there. Now the only concern that I really have with this thing is that based on my calculations, it's gonna be about 400 pounds. And that's pretty darn heavy to move on the regular. But my plan is I'm actually gonna fit it with 4 wheels. So unlike a Siskovich tractor, which only has 2 wheels that you pick up the front and you roll it, this thing is gonna be like a cart that I roll. And so I can either pull it myself or I can use the ATV to pull it. And I know some of you are probably wondering why I didn't just build smaller ones that are easier to move. And the reason for that is I wanna try and see if I can actually use this thing both in the summer and in the winter. And so in the winter, I think I'm gonna cover it up with some greenhouse plastic, and then I will use it as a winter shelter for a lot of the geese that we're holding over for next year for breeding stock. And then the other factor is my plan next year is not to need actual enclosures like this. And so given the fact that I'll have the wheels, I'll be able to just roll this around on the pasture and use it as a shelter so that the birds can get out of the rain or get into the shade if they need to. But since I'm never locking them up because I'm gonna have the fence around the pasture, I think this will be a more effective shelter for more birds. Now, if you guys wanna see me actually finish this chicken tractor, you should probably hit the subscribe button and turn on your notifications and just sit on our YouTube's channel page and keep hitting refresh, 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 and then you'll eventually see a video all about finishing this thing. Thanks for watching, guys.